Welcome back, guys, to Something Like Therapy, the podcast that I'm hoping and believing that when you leave here, you're going to feel just a little bit better than when you first click that button or when you first click that video or however you're watching. We just believe on this podcast that something's going to be said that you can take away and will just make your day just that much better. All right. With that being said, as I've told you all before, behind every good man is a greater woman. And so I've said it before that the wifey definitely can stop by anytime she desires. And so tonight's one of those nights, and we definitely welcome her. So welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
You want to reintroduce yourself if they haven't?
Oh, I am Precious Peyton, the Mrs.
Absolutely.
Mom Dukes.
Mom Dukes. Yeah. And tonight we were talking about this kind of a little bit yesterday, last night, throughout the day tonight. The title that we gave this podcast, Something Like Therapy. And I don't know if I ever explained it, but we did this because one, just when it comes to therapy, and especially I know for me as a guy and other men that I've spoken to, we're not fans of going to therapy, and we always feel like we're forced or pushed to therapy. And so I was like, you know what, this is something like therapy, and it's also an outlet for me, because anyone who's close to me know I don't, I don't speak a lot. I'm careful on the words that I choose. And so I was like, this is an outlet for me and for anyone who is on the podcast, right? And so you and I were talking, and we were just like, hey, let's get back on there and let's discuss. We got so many things going on in our life, and so it's just good to communicate. One thing that we say is it's not just communication, but it's positive and honest communication, because you can talk all day about things that are relevant to you. And so we enjoy speaking and talking, about things that are positive and transparency. And, so we appreciate that about our relationship. Yeah. And so that's why I was excited. Like, let's just get on. Let's just get on and let's just discuss some things, because there's so much going on right now. The biggest thing is sleep. like we're finding that so difficult to grab a hold of, especially what we do on a day-to-day, not just our 9 to 5s, but also our gym and the clients that we have in the fitness business. Shout out to AM to PM
Absolutely.
Fitness. But we encourage sleep, and yet it is so hard for us to find like a moment where we can actually just rest.
I was going to say, even with the sleep, we have to have rest.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's difficult within itself.
Yeah. So what we're going to do tonight, we tell you put your seatbelt on, because we're not exactly sure what's going to come out. But man, we have such a bomb relationship, and just I enjoy being with this woman. For sure, I'm gonna pump you up a little bit.
Just a little bit.
So we just want to dive right into it. With that being said, I put down just some of the events that kind of happened. We'll catch people up since the last time you were here. I do want to give a shout out to you. Like I said, I'm gonna pump you up a little bit. Since the last time, Precious has started this event. You want to explain it, kind of?
So it's like we're a fitness business, and we own AM to PM Fitness, and that is for anybody and everybody. And I decided to come up with something strictly for women, preferably, and it's called Bella Stories. And Bella Stories is just, Bella means beautiful, and so everybody has a beautiful story through the journey of weight loss, weight gain, fitness, pregnancy, whatever the case may be, surgeries. And so I'm going to launch an online recording workout for people that don't want to come outside. Yeah. COVID's still real, and they can work out in the comfort of their own home without any gym equipment. But lately, I have done Bella Stories Ladies Night. Yeah. And I've had 3 thus far. Recently, my birthday bash, and I had a phenomenal turnout. It was like phenomenal. Like, I'm still so excited about it.
Yeah, no, you should be. I mean, it was big. Like I told you, the night of, like, I knew some of the ladies that were there, and they were texting me like, yo, I love her energy, and like, yo, I can't wait to come back.
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, hey, get off the phone, enjoy. But they were so excited. So I was not only excited to know this was going on, I was a fan. I was like, man, that's my lady right there. So kudos to you on that.
Thank you.
You know, and I know, you know, it's only going to get bigger, but that's a part of kind of like when people see us and it's like, yeah, are your eyes open? Like, yes, they're open. Just we're tired, you know.
I do want to kind of speak on what it is because I don't think I did. So for the ladies' night, it's kind of like I play the music, we dance, and we work out. Yeah. So it's nonstop moving, just burning the calories the fun way. Because we still want our clients to sign up individually. Yeah. But this is just something that's a little different than what we offer. So let me ask you this, and I know you and I've had conversations about it, but do you feel like it was a need for Bella Stories? And yes.
Like, what was the need?
I feel that I ministry to other people. It's just something that I do. Yeah. I'm an influencer, I've been told that. And so I've always loved helping people. But because I'm a woman, I enjoy helping women. That's something I know how to do. Yeah. And I love being around people. Yeah. So that is my like exciting moment. So like if I can party with my girls once a week, and if it's just working out, that's another passion of mine. So that's kind of...
No, that's dope. I love the idea. Like, I'm your biggest fan. I love the idea even when you told it to me. Because I do think, only because we do have clients, and so I get a chance to hear some of the fears of why certain clients don't go out and work out or they haven't achieved their goal. And a big part of it is being comfortable. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that you create a space for people to be comfortable, you know, I appreciate that. That's big. So congratulations to that. Like I said, it's going to grow. I see the dynamic of that is it doesn't matter if you're a judge or janitor. Yeah. You know, it doesn't matter where you are in your career, where you are on the pay scale. Like, I've seen all women, you know, there and just having a good time. And so that's
different ages, different levels of fitness, some that don't work out, and they still come out. I mean, it's a good time.
No, congrats on that.
Thank you.
With all of, like I say, with all of this stuff that we have going on, so we appreciate it. Can we give them an update, though? Because we did speak on Baby Thor, a.k.a. Preston, our son. Yeah, because he's known more by Baby Thor than his name. But you want to give kind of update on him and kind of how he's doing?
I'm just going to start with saying he is doing phenomenal. Yeah. Like, he is amazing. Like, oh, man. I just, the miracles that are working in that baby is just amazing. And so I will say that we have another swallow study scheduled for the month of August. Yeah. And we're praying that soon we will be able to get him off of the G button. Yeah. So right now his bottle intake by mouth has increased significantly. Well, it's up there. It's with every feed. He eats jar food,
which is good.
Amazing. Yeah. And he will bash the whole jar if you let him. So he is starting to in the walker, he tries to move more, which I'm not sure if we've ever really spoke on it, but Parker, she's all over the place. She crawls, army crawls, and she's always in her walker in her chair, and she's all over the house. And Preston...
Parker's twin sister.
Yeah. And Preston just was a still baby. Like, he was still happy, but he just didn't move. He didn't want to roll and all of that. So now he's doing all of that except the rolling. Yeah. And he has a tooth coming in.
Yeah, and you're so excited about that.
Man, am I weird for that?
No, it's fine.
I think it's so cute.
Yeah. That's cool. Like if you're listening and you're not familiar, I encourage you to go back and listen to some of the earlier episodes where we actually talk about and break down, you know, all of the kiddos that we have. So yeah, we're extremely excited. Like you said, the weight's going up. I was actually asked today at work. There's a situation kind of sad in our job. and I was speaking to someone, and I was asking, inquiring about someone who's going through something. And I said, hey, how is he doing? Like, if you see him, how is he doing? And he said, I think he's all cried out. And I said, man, I'll argue that I don't think it's possible. Mm-hmm. And I know I hear people say that, like, oh, I've cried so many tears. Taken from someone who it's not normal for me to just cry, but when Preston happened, I found myself like crying. But I was telling this person, I said, man, he's doing so well that sometimes I just hold him and I look at him and I feel tears coming down. But this time it's tears of joy, and it's like, man, I almost lost you. And here you are. And I can't even explain the joy. It puts me on a different level. Mm-hmm. I remember my little big brother, he had said at our wedding, he was just like, Precious, you made my brother soft, but in a good way. And so I think about that when I'm holding this baby, like, man, like I just look at him and I'm like, man, and when he smiles and grabs for my face, it's like, it's the little small things that I never thought I would appreciate the way that I do. But it's like, man, I love it. And even when his brothers come in and they're a little rough with him, like, I love that too. Mm-hmm. So it's like, man, the fact that you're here. So that's dope. I'm glad we gave him a little catch up. But I want to stick to Preston because we had made mention of something the other day. And I was like, man, that probably need to be addressed. And if you're listening, we want to tell you that we have those positive conversations and those transparent conversations. We try not to leave room for anything that's not positive in our relationship. And what that means is we have to have conversations that's difficult. We have them, and and we're not gonna go to bed mad. We like, hey, we gotta squash this. And even if we do, it's like, look, don't not say I love you. Right. Don't leave the house but we do have difficult conversations. And one thing I'll stress, and I tell people, we don't argue. Right. But we do have difficult conversations. It's like things that other people might tiptoe around. We're like, nah, let's say this because we don't want. We don't want any room. I remember you described it. You don't want to leave that door open. Door cracked a little bit.
It's not always easy, though. We don't argue, but the conversations are just, I'm still not comfortable all the time.
The biggest thing is you can't accept me being right.
See, that's what's wrong with your son. You think you're smart.
No, but one thing, though, it's about Preston. And I don't know if you know where I'm going with this.
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. So we want to talk about this, and hopefully it helps someone. But when our son was sick, and like I said, I encourage you to kind of go through the story, the earlier podcast. But we walked in, non-responsive. We had to go to the hospital. I don't know if they call it flatline or whatever the case is. It happened again while he was at the hospital. They were in a panic, and you shouldn't see first responders, being one, you shouldn't see us in a panic. So to see them rush in there, we got all these things going on and not knowing if he's going to make it, should we be saying goodbye, the whole nine. But in that, there was a part where you were kind of getting bothered by me and my actions. Mm-hmm. And I know it kind of happened. I've had some thoughts about it. You had some thoughts about it, but I would like to kind of talk about it and just, one, what were you thinking? How were you thinking? What could I have done? What could I have done? And then vice versa. So in that area, you mind talking like, what were those times where you were kind of, because we're in a situation where emotion is high. Mm-hmm. And like I say, man, you're my best friend. I'm your best friend. But there were some times I could feel it. I can feel like she's bothered by me, and it's like, I feel the same way right now. So you want to just kind of dive into that, if you don't mind?
Yeah. So unfortunately, Preston had to stay there for weeks upon weeks upon weeks. And I was still on maternity leave. So I'm still going through postpartum, and it's COVID. So I wasn't able to bring Parker up there. And I wanted to see my son every day. I felt like it's not fair. He didn't ask to be here, so he should at least have us there every day. Mm. And I know at the very beginning of our relationship, you told me you don't like hospitals. I get it. I don't like hospitals. I don't like funerals. I understand that. Yeah. But this is your son, right? Yeah. And so I got this I was going there, like we would try to go there together, and then I know that there are times where we would try to schedule to where like we're gonna go together if we could, and if we could, type deal. And there was this time I remember, I think I texted you, or no, we were on the phone, I think, and I was telling you like the schedule for the day and how you reacted to it or how you responded. I didn't like how you responded. I took it as if, well, I'll tell you how I took it, because I sent you a text message right afterwards. And it basically, I don't remember verbatim, but I overall saying, don't worry about it. I'll go to the hospital by myself if this is, I feel like I'm bothering you, or if this is a burden, or whatever the case may be. And that made me feel some type of way, because the audacity for you not to schedule your day around seeing our son every day made me feel some type of way as the mother. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, I know the relationship would be different because I carried them. Yeah. But I still feel like, you know how, in my mind, you know how bad I hurt because I have to leave him. Yeah. And then how bad I hurt because I don't get to see him at home like I do Parker, and he's missing out on these. So why wouldn't you want that as well? Yeah. And so I was like, pissed. Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was very upset and I was hurt, and I was like, I can't even believe that you would even make me feel like this. Yeah. And yet you didn't really say you weren't gonna go. Yeah. It was just more so how you responded. And so,
how do you remember how?
I don't.
Okay.
Do you? I'm sure you do.
No. No.
Because you're always right.
No, I know. Well, are you done?
Yeah.
So, one, I want to give kudos, because I just said that we don't argue. And for you to be pissed and to hold that in and to not lash out at me, I appreciate it. Like I said, emotions were high. Like that. At that time, and that was a big part of that, and then just my walk with Christ, that was just a big reason of, like, it's time to give up alcohol, because I knew my emotion was so high, and I knew that being somewhat of an adrenaline junkie, it's hard not to be doing the job that we do. I knew I would drown myself in something, like, I needed an outlet, and so emotions was just super high, and so knowing how you felt, the text message, I could definitely... So right now, you sound really good when you're saying it. Like, hey, it's okay. I'll go with that. No, when I read that text, I was like, boo-boo, don't you worry about it. Do you? And that's what I heard. I was like, oh, man, really? Really? She hitting me with the... And all I heard was pack.
Oh, it gave me
in my head, I was just like, okay. I see where this is going. It's just like... And, you start typing stuff. Well, you know what? Delete. 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 Just... No, I ain't saying I ain't gonna go. It's just like after you get yourself out the way. But that was deep, and knowing that, like, I was feeling some of it, but just not, I can't read your mind. And that's why I think it's important, because who knows what people are dealing with.
Yeah.
And like I say, I rather that's something that you tell me than we hide. And every time we tell this story, I don't want that to sit there. Right. And you feel like, man, And you said something that stuck out. It was like, how dare you make me feel like this? Because in this relationship, we've been able to just come face to face with those things that bother us and get rid of them. And so for this to be something that it's like, man, like, you're supposed to be that dude, and it may not be what others argue over, but this is special to you. This is your son. And knowing you, I know how you ride for your children. Like, right. I know how you ride for your children. Man, I love all of our children, but I'd be like, shorty mama, they can make that for themselves. They can do this for themselves. So I know how you ride. And so knowing that this is the situation, that it was literally a life or death situation, and you felt like I was inadequate, or I wasn't stepping up. On my side, like you said, I did, I did say, like, I wasn't a fan of hospitals. And it was because I was just tired of death. If that makes sense. Legit, I'm tired of death, but nobody gets out alive. Nobody gets out alive. The song, nobody. That's but it was like, so when it comes to going to visit people in the hospital, it was just like, it's like, man, this is, in my mind, it's like, this is where it's going to be. I'm tired of seeing, dead bodies. I'm tired of seeing, like, this, what it is. And so, yes, this is my son, but it's just like, a part of me is just like, man, I was more so like, I don't know how much I can handle seeing him like that. And so hearing that you were more so saying like, I'm tired, I don't want to leave him. I was like, man, every time I come here and I cannot fix this situation, it completely rips me apart. And so I leave and it's like, you try to be the man again, right? And then you see that and then he starts crying and nobody can get him quiet. Not even the parents, and we try everything. And it's like, you can't put a bottle in his mouth because he can't take a bottle. And so you see this little kid and he's so small and they're like, oh, he gained weight. Oh, now he's, he lost weight. There's nothing I can do. And so I'm just like, man, like, why do I keep doing this to myself? Selfishly, but that's how I feel it. And so the other thing is, I was like, hey, we have other children. And I felt like, you do that. Go be who you have to be for our son. I appreciate you going there, but we have other children. And so that was kind of my argument. And like you said, I was getting bothered by you, it's not here to pick sides. People going to pick whoever's right. We know there is no, when I fight with you. Because we
know you're not right.
No, when I fight with you, I'm fighting with myself. But I was saying, like, we have other children, and I want to make sure that I'm giving them all of mom and dad as well, And so that's why I always say, man, communication is so important, just honest communication, because I didn't know that. And so you were being bothered by me and I was being bothered by you. And I know right now we're able to laugh about it, but it was getting bad.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember saying to myself, like, if our son is in the hospital for a really long time, I don't know if it's going to make it.
How long we'll make it. Yeah. I felt the same way.
And
it sucks, but
it does. But we know, and if any parents are listening, like, those babies are everything to you. And what would have been, the crazy part is you still have two people who, underneath it all, love this little boy more than anything. But because we couldn't come to, hey, this is how I'm loving him. This is how you're loving him. And I need to accept how you're loving him. Can you accept how I'm loving him? But you do feel that, like, you know what? Because you don't love him how I love him, I don't think you love him, And I remember we did have a discussion that it was like, you don't treat him like that. Why do you treat her like that? And I was just like...
Because even after he came home, we still had... We were better. Yeah. I mean, we still... There wasn't hostility. Yeah. And I still was emotional.
We was able to keep that just about that. It didn't go outside.
Exactly. But then later, I remember being in the kitchen and how you interact with Parker. Yeah. It bothered me because I'm like, you don't do those things to Preston. Like, you don't love him. I don't know, even maybe I said it too. I don't know.
You said, like, you don't. I don't think you love him like you love the others.
Of hers, probably. And I felt some type of way. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure I said something. I may have not have said it the right way, but I had to say something, because not saying anything is sweeping it under the rug and then things pile up. So that's something that I learned in previous relationships. Like, you have to address it. And so that's one thing that I will say, like you've been mentioning this whole time, like, we do communicate. Although it may be awkward and it may be very uncomfortable, we have to. Yeah. And if I wouldn't have said it, it would have just kept boiling, building up, and I would have been boiling inside type deal. And so, and we had a conversation. We expanded more on that. And, you broke it down to me, and I understood it better. And fast forward some months, I mean, he don't get treated any different now,
I would go as far as saying I'm his favorite, but that's
he's not your favorite.
No, I'm his favorite. I would go as far as that, but that's
no.
the conversations him and I have when you're not around.
And I'm gonna tell you guys all right now. I've already told the kids he's my favorite. Okay. And I'm pretty sure he's a mama's boy.
Okay, we will see about that. But no, that was like I say, that was big. But it's not to say we know it all, nothing like that. No. It is right. We are learning every day. But because we do talk to other couples or we talk to other people, and because unfortunately we have been in other relationships that weren't successful, obviously, we know that it's things like that tear people apart. And underneath it all, it's the same ideas. It's just we can't accept how people love. the book we were reading, I believe it was either the His Needs, Her Needs, or the other one we read, I forget the name of it, the 7 Love Languages, or the Love Language, or something like that. I don't want to mess it up, but I know one of them, it was saying you have to love your spouse the way they want to be loved, and not how, because most times we treat people the way we want to be treated, but it's a difference. I had to love you how you wanted to be loved. And so when it came to Preston, I was treating him how I would want to be treated. Like, like give me some space. Like, and even saying it out loud, I was like, bruh, really? But it was just like, if I'm having an emotional moment, I don't want the hugs. I don't want is it okay? And so I was trying to like, okay, there's nothing I can do. And I'm hurt by it and I don't know how to do it. And so it kind of just like, man, what, and then when he came home, unfortunately, I was like, I don't want to break him. It sounds weird, but this was a thought. Because if you're listening to understand, he was 7, 8, kind of fluctuated. And I don't even know if that was when he first came out, but he was so tiny compared to his sister. And I was like, I don't want to break him. And the G-tube that they call it, that's in his stomach, when they were like, you got to turn that, spin it every day. And I'm like, can I pull it out? Am I going to break it? Am I going to push it through his body? And these was legit questions. And so the best way I could bring down that anxiety was like, give him a space. I'll come in. Hey, man, he's not doing much. And it wasn't that I didn't love him. I was just like, I don't want to make the situation worse. And then how can I really help the situation? You know what I mean? And that in itself bothered me. But you saw it a different way. And vice versa. I saw how you were loving him. And I was like, yo, don't forget A, B, C, D. But that's what he needed. You even made a comment that said, I remember you were saying, I believe he needs the love of this house to get better. And we shout out to the nurses who helped him and loved up on him. But I remember you saying it was like, babe, I think he really needs the love of this house. And that's what you were giving him. And thank God, even for my biological sons, that they have you, because and their mom's there. I'm not throwing shade or nothing like that. But I just know for me alone, I'm still learning as a dad how to love them the way they need to be loved versus loving them how, it's like, we were just joking the other day, I don't know if you were in there, with all of the sons we got from 16 getting ready to be, 17 all the way down. 14, 13, 8, 9, wherever he is. But we were talking, and even at this stage, we can't say, I love you without something extra. So it just can't be like, hey, son, I love you, man. Good job. Unfortunately, I'm not there yet. So it's always like, I love you, my boy. You know what I mean? Like, I love you, big dog. And that's what you hear all around it. It's just like, but that's me. That's a me thing. And I had to learn how to love them the way they deserve to be loved. And not saying I'm not, but it's just like, they may be okay with it. They may want that hug from dad, but instead they're becoming who dad is. And it's just like, no, we're cool right there, and that kind of, for a second, it put a little stank in it, because you can, like I said, even though we kept it there, you could still feel when it came to Preston, there was a situation. So thank goodness that we were able to discuss it and kind of get over it. And his healing process really helped. Yeah. Because like you said, if he would have stayed in that condition, I don't know how, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, what would have happened? So thank you. Kudos to you. Like I said, kudos for real to you. I know right now we're in a situation, we talked about the house fire and all that. So right now we're in the process of purchasing a home. How is that going?
10 hours later. Like, seriously, the market right now is just unbelievable. Yeah. It is definitely a seller's market. So we have put several offers in, haven't gotten it, but it's hard for me to say this and mean it, but that just means ours is not out there yet, and God is going to give us our one. Yeah. But when you put that offer in, you're like, this is the one. Yeah. And then the next day, it's like, you didn't get picked. And I'm like, okay, God, that wasn't the one? Yeah. All right, so you about to come out. You going to show up and show out. But I'm not going to lie, like, I want it to be over. Yeah. Just like with Preston, I want that to be over. I want him to be healed completely. Yeah. He's doing phenomenal. Yeah. But he's still not 100% healed, So, like you said, though, when I want something, I want it right away, and I don't stop until I get it. And I'm just
persistent.
I like it.
Yeah, there's a couple of things, but no, there's definitely something, and I'm glad. But just kind of catching people up on that process, and we will eventually. Next time we're gonna tell them like, yeah, we got the house,
right,
and we'll celebrate together. Some things I was thinking about, babe, when we were, I knew we would be here tonight, and I was like, you know what, you give me a comfortable space, and so some things I want to talk about. One thing, just for those listening, I try not to bring work home, right? I try to keep my job at my job. It's 12 long hours, sometimes 13, sometimes 16. And so I try to keep that at work. And so when I come home, it's less, when you say like, hey, how was your day? I'm like, let's start the day from going forward. But I wanted to ask you, can you, I know in the last maybe year or so, I've gotten a promotion, and the things I have to do at work has widened, and so I have more responsibilities. Can you see work coming home, even though I may think I'm leaving it at work and at home? I just want to ask, like, can you see it coming home? Do you think it comes home with me?
Sometimes.
Yeah. How
it does.
so?
So, like, especially like one. If you're tired, so if you leave home tired, if you didn't have to be at work for 12 to 16 hours and you come home, you might be like, okay, I'm not that bad. But whenever you go to work and you have calls after calls after calls after calls, you talk about it, which I expect you to talk about, because I do ask you, how is your day?
Yeah.
But then, you'll bring up something that happened, and then you'll kind of talk about it, but not for too long, but you're flustered, but with you, that's different than me, which I'll kudo you, is when you're flustered at work, you really don't bring that attitude, energy in the house.
Okay.
I can tell you're flustered, but your attitude towards everything in the house is still fine. And me, on the other hand, if I'm grumpy at work, I'm pretty irritated. Don't talk to me, don't look at me. So I got to work on that. But there are, unfortunately, babe, even if you don't bring it home, you're never off.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is they can call you in the middle of the night while you're sleeping, because you're supposed to be off, because you got to get up at 4 a.m, and say, hey, come in and finish this report, or hey, come in and work this case, or hey, come in, or hey, did you clean whatever the case may be. So it's like you're never off. So then you have, patrolmen texting you throughout the night. You have lieutenants calling you throughout I don't even know what they're talking about, but I just know that it's not that sometimes you intentionally bring work home. Yeah. But you can't help but to always be at work.
Yeah. And I bring that up, and I'll just say out this, Precious didn't have, you didn't know some of the things I'm gonna be throwing at you. So you're doing a great job. But I bring some of those up, and I'll elaborate more on it, because like I say, this is therapeutic for me to be able to discuss, because I don't speak much, and I don't want those things to ever become an issue because I didn't let them out. But we had a conversation about the kiddos, and I hope you remember, we were talking about kind of parenting. Right? Do you remember? So we were talking about parenting, and you was like, sometimes I think you look at this because of your job.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can you? I'll fill in any areas, because it's vivid. I remember this because these are some of those moments where I feel like, man, she's disappointed. And just like your children, you use that D word, and I'm like, oh man.
I've never said that to you though.
No, but I felt like that. And so this conversation, when we go into, I'll tell you, like I did feel like that. So if you remember it, can you kind of elaborate on that conversation?
Was it now? 4th of July.
Yeah.
So it's 4th of July. Well, one of them was for 4th of July. You've done it a couple times, I think. But
okay. You love pushing that thing, right?
But you made the comment about you just hope that they're not shooting off fireworks because they're actually giving fines or whatever.
Our sons.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Our kiddos. And I was like, well, one for sure is not, because he got shot in the leg by a firework and he thought he died. Like, it was awful. 3rd-degree burn, everything. It was pretty bad. So, and when I said that, you were like, well, babe. You know, your voice. Well, babe,
That's how
I think I think it's cute that you think. What'd you say? What'd you say?
Something like, I think you cute. You think our kiddos won't do it or something like that.
Yeah, but I feel like you almost say always. But I do feel, because, and this is why I made the comment. You see so many kids acting out and doing things they're not supposed to do. And I'm not going to say our kids are perfect by any means, because I know they're not. But I also know they know the type of mother I am, especially my bios. Not, they'll push buttons, but they're not crazy enough to push the button.
Yeah, yeah.
And then with you being the father of all of them, like, you're kind of intimidating to them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, to them. Yeah. And so it's like, it's a little different. Now, granted, when they get older, they might, not older, but like in a few years, who knows, they might try to do something stupid, and then we just have to address it. But they've not given us anything besides like being immature and lazy, kind of, at times, to think that they're doing something illegal, I guess, so to speak. And I was just like, I think I made the comment like, babe, you see this at work, and so you always try to pinpoint it. Not always. I don't know if I said always, and so I don't mean always, because you don't always, but you try to pinpoint it on our kiddos, like those, like our kiddos are like those, and they're not. Granted, they may hang out with some of those kiddos, but I do believe that they do still make smart decisions.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you were saying?
That was a conversation, and just like I said, today I'm letting you kind of pick at me, because this is my therapy session. But when you said it, because like I said, I feel like, or I try, like, not to bring work home, but I'm noticing it because of the times, because whether it's summertime and just, things are higher, stress level. I try to avoid stress, but it's some stuff you just can't, do anything about. And so I'm finding myself like, even if I don't talk about it, I do feel myself like, you know what, your mood, I try not to get angry or anything like that, but I do feel like I'm exhausted because of the weight of work. But, this is when you get into a job, you want to be promoted. So I want it, So when you made that comment, it made me feel like, stop being a cop dad and just be dad. And the comment, and like you said, you said it a couple of times, and just to kind of bring them up to speed. Sometimes when we're talking, or we're talking about our kiddos who are great, I mean, just wonderful children.
Don't let them hear that.
I know. Just wonderful children, though. And sometimes when we talk about the things that they do, I'm always giving them the talk.
Yeah.
And yes, it's good, because you're dad. But you're right. Sometimes the talk is because of, it's like, you know what? Y'all ain't going to be like them.
Right, exactly. And it's like they weren't even on that path yet.
And it's like, Dad, we wasn't thinking about that drug. But now that you said it, you make it sound cool, So, but it's like, when you said that, I was like, babe, like, that's not our boys. Like, and I think you were saying, like, stop being cop or something like that.
Cop mode all the time.
And like, that was one of those moments. I was like, oh, man, I felt like I disappointed you. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I find myself now, as I'm getting older in my career, and naturally, I find myself like, man, can you turn it off? And that's that's an issue. And we did a video when we was talking about the mindset of a police officer, and we'll do more about it because there's so much. But I find myself thinking, can you turn it off with everything that I've dealt with? And here I have this beautiful home, beautiful wife, beautiful children. And I'm like, dude, can you turn it off? That time frame. And it's so difficult. And I know we've had conversations about that. And just a couple weeks ago, we were traveling and we met a gentleman. I can't think of his name, but we met a gentleman. Daryl. Maybe Daryl, TSA. And he just happened to pick me out the crowd and was just talking to me. And we conversated a little bit as we were putting our shoes and stuff back on at the airport. And he told me he was retired. He had did law enforcement, was a Marine. And I think he was about 60 years old. He had done it for years. And I said, man, I have one question. And I said, does it ever turn off? And I'm thinking this man, because he was telling me about all the great things he's doing and all the other stuff. He's like, nope. It's so quick.
Once he said that, I was like,
And it was, for me, it was like, man, that is disappointing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be cop dad. It's like when I tell our boys, you know, you're a student athlete, but the first thing is you're a student. So get the grades up before you become an athlete. I don't want to be cop dad. I want to be dad, you know, because the cop is not first. The police officer is not first. And so when you said that, it's just like, dude, like make sure you know, yes, those things that would be helpful, but make sure that you are not the dad that, you know, pushes your sons away or push them away or push them to like, yeah, you know, we don't want to do this because we know dad is going to say this. And like you said, they're not even those children, but I almost place that into them. And it just, it has me thinking a lot, not to the point where I want to stress over, but it's just like, you know, like I told you, can I turn this off? You know, can I just be, you know, this guy? Can I just, you know, I think we had a conversation, and if you work in law enforcement or a first responder, you know, I'm hoping and I believe that you can kind of understand what I'm saying, or just whatever it is, military, anything, those jobs where you have to always protect. I told you, I was like, I want to bump into someone because I didn't see you. I want to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. You know, every time we're going through a crowd, I'm like, hey, move back. Come on, you don't see those threats? You know, like, shout out to Derek Amos for saying that, but it's like,
I want to kind of real quick.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, I won't call you cop husband, but you are definitely cop mode.
Yeah.
A lot of times that we go, when we finally get to go like on a date, and I'm like, relax, because
stop taking me to these cheap places.
I know that I'm my personality. I'm just like do like I'm untouchable, right? In my mind, I'm so nice. Anybody gonna mess with me? I get it. It happens everywhere. But when I go out to eat, I want to go out to eat. Like I'm not worried about that person is a threat. That person is a threat, babe. I need a face to front. Like literally, I feel like woosah. You know, I'm over here like rub your ears. You know, but and so. It doesn't bother me, like, because I'm still going to keep going with you, obviously. It's just, I wish I could turn that off for you so you can enjoy the moment and relax and actually have a peace of mind and not have to worry about people walking. And, I mean, you point out some of the stuff that I'm like, how did you even see it?
I don't know. And that's the thing. It's like, and even, you know, I joke about, you know, when we first moved in together, it was like, you know, when I'm asleep. And no matter what everyone in the house do, it's like I'm not hearing that sometimes. But as soon as I hear an outside door, I'm like up and locked and loaded. And you're like, boy, why you just sleep? I was like, did somebody just come in the house? You know, and it's ridiculous. And I even encourage you, if you're listening, you know, with those emails that you send, letting me know that I'm always right. I appreciate that.
I deleted those.
But no, just if you're listening, you know, it's like, how do we cut it off? And I know as we bring more in there, like I said, the conversation that we had with Beck, Josh, was great, you know, but you start seeing those holes in what we do for a living. And so even tonight, I was just kind of thinking about that, like, you know, I want to enjoy more of life. And I'm starting, even at my job, I'm starting to talk to some of the older guys and they're on their way out. And so now at this stage of their career and at their age, which, you know, still young, but a little bit older, now they're starting to think, what else can I do?
Right.
And I don't want to be there. You know, I don't want to be there. And like I say, this is my podcast. So this is my therapy session. And these are things I don't tell you, but it's like, when you have so much at work, you know, and it's one circle because it just explains why I was the way with Preston and why I'm the way with our boys and why sometimes I'm with you. But it's just like, this is what you have to be. This is who you are for so long when you think about it and break it down. I'm working 12 hours there, right? But it's not 12 hours at home. The idea is, because there's 24 hours in a day, 12 hours there, 12 hours at home. It's not. Once I wake up, you know, I'm in get ready mode. That's about 2 hours, hour to 2 hours. Then travel time. Then we're not getting off on time. Then we come home. Then you have to get all of that off. Now, depending on what it is, you have to get rest. And so in reality, I'm only dad or husband during, you know,
25 minutes.
Yeah, those moments where, you know, I have a few days that I'm working. like you said, I'm only husband and dad. In reality, just a few moments, and it's more law enforcement than it is
Absolutely.
being what we might say human. And so it just becomes difficult, And so I told you I was gonna pump you up. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you being patient with me, even though you might not think you have a lot of patience. It takes a lot to marry someone who was in law enforcement.
It's not always easy.
Yeah.
Not the relationship. It's just the fact of your career.
Yeah.
And then us deciding to have babies. We didn't know it was babies, but decided to try to grow our family. Not thinking like he's still going to work overnights, Precious. So you're going to be with these newborns while he's overnights. And then even after you go overnights, you're still gone 12 hours. So it is difficult, but I do try to. So my part in trying to help as much as possible is letting you know, like, inside these four walls at home, it's not Sergeant, it's not Lieutenant Peyton, it's none of that. You get no respect now. It's just all of that other stuff that you do out there is what you do out there. Yeah. But when you're in this house, you're a husband and your dad, off tops. And I always tell you, like, I'm not tripping off that badge today. Like you mean that badge means nothing to me when you're in home. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I am proud of you for sure to get it, and the different color shirts and the bars. I am proud. You know that. But I could care less about that badge when you're in the house. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when you get out and at work, definitely. But when you come home, turn it off. Yeah. And you don't know how, and we're gonna work on it. But that's why I'm like, babe, I ain't tripping off whatever you think you have out there. You don't have in here. You know. So
let me ask you this. So because you and I know you're so sweet. I think I know what you're gonna say, but I was thinking in my head, I was like, you make good investments, right? You know, whether it's stock or whatever business plans, you make good investments. I was like, man, you invested in someone who dodged bullets for a living. Is that a good investment? Like, on a scale of things, like, man, is that a good investment?
Well, I believe that the Lord is going to keep covering you. And so in the beginning, it was rough for me. But in the beginning of our relationship, I wasn't having this walk with Christ either. Yeah. So, of course, I still pray daily, but it wasn't where we are today. Yeah. So now that I'm in it, we're in it longer, and we talk more. I don't even think that type of negativity anymore. In my mind, you're always going to come home. And so the dodging bullets thing, I mean, I think you're crazy for it. I don't really know why anybody
I don't do it all the time.
I don't see why people become police officers in the first place. No offense. Again, we need them, but man, some of the stuff you guys deal with, like, I can't. Like, I don't have the patience. And so I applaud you because some of the stories you tell me, I'm like,
Yeah.
But
well, the good thing is not always like that.
It's not.
You know, just thinking to that point that,
well, you asked about the whole dodging bullets thing. It's not just dodging bullets. It's some of the rudeness that comes with it as well that I have to worry about for you. And so, I just, because of who you are, we need you out there, if that makes sense. We need people like you out there. And so I'd rather you be out there to try to change things than be home pushing carts. Although you would be safe, I guess I would like that, but you wouldn't be happy. Yeah. And I want you to be happy.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, but you wouldn't be happy. Yeah. And so I want you happy.
Maybe for the first couple of days.
You'd be happy?
Maybe, but and after that, I'd be like, man. But no, I appreciate you saying that. And like you said, I do. Even now, though, you because you give me so much inspiration. You've changed even the way that I police. And, I've always tried to be respectful, and because of the way I was raised, and my dad, who we did the show, my dad's on the other side of the law. But he always told me, like, man, you respect people respect you. And I've always tried to do that, But it's just, as I get older now, I'm trying to even myself, because in this career, we hold so much in, and we come up with these vices. Like I told you, when Preston happened, I knew what I was capable of. You know, even when I used to go out drinking, it was just the numbers. Even when people like, people that were not law enforcement that would try to keep up. It's like, man, I'm not doing this for a race. Like, I'm doing this until I stop seeing the face that I don't want to see. You're doing this because you think it's cute. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm drinking for a purpose. I want to sleep tonight, or I want to get rid of that baby I saw. You know, and thankfully, alcohol was the only vice that I picked up. But maybe there were some other ones, but there were so many out there, and you know, it's because of this. I'm not saying this job is bad. It's just saying that I'm glad I'm learning how to release what we deal with, and a lot of times, you know, people are not fortunate enough to get that. So I guess I'm just want to tell you I love you and I thank you. You know, that's the gist of it. You know, because you're helping with that. Before that, like I said, I didn't really know how to release. You know, and I know. You know, I talk to officers all the time. I know it's difficult to, like, how do you deal with this? You know, and you know, it's a process. You know, and I'm telling you, it's a process. Continue to work with me because it's a process, and I'm gonna have more, you know, officers on and just kind of get their expertise and just hear from them because it is a process, you know. And sometimes when people hate us for what we do, we'll take that. But then there are also people behind us that you don't see, being you and my family and things like that. And I just want to make sure that what I do there don't affect what I have behind me, you know. And then just hearing you say that you don't always have to be the only one standing, that means a lot, you know. And I'm saying this not necessarily for me, but for maybe someone who's in my shoes. I'm like, hey, it's just good to know we don't have to be that. Although it's hard for us to take that cape off. You know, it's like, we're taking it off. Like, hold up, who my man is? You know, and I do that at home. Like, people walk towards our grass. Oh, my goodness. And I'm like, who
I haven't seen him in the neighborhood. Oh, my gosh, babe. No, like, that's how cars get broken into because they don't know.
I'm Karen. I just realized that. I'm Karen.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
It's ridiculous.
But I don't call in. I just watch.
Because you want the person to call in.
Yeah, right. I just watch. But no.
You're still Superman, even whenever you take the cape off. You're just a different Superman at home.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. That we are going to future episodes. We definitely want to dive more into that, especially the spouses for law enforcement, you know, and so stay tuned because that's coming. But it's so much more that we can dive into. Of course, we're not going to do it for the sake of time, but I just wanted to invite people in my mind just a little bit, and even you, because I know it's not that I, you know, try to cut you off like you can't be a part of that. It's just times it's like, you know, deal with it, you know. But you deserve to kind of know some of the stuff that's going in there and to make sure that it's healthy and that we stay healthy. And I want to know when you're like, hey, you're being 5-0. You ain't 5-0 right now. You know what I mean? Take that badge off and just be dad. Even sometimes I think about how I hold the babies. It's always like nice, secure. You know, make sure nothing's. You know, I feel myself like, oh, you good? Yeah. Because even when the brother shot it, I'm like, hey, good. Hold on, give him a second. You know, it's just like, man, you're
ridiculous.
You know, but it is what it is. So I do. Thank you again for my therapy session. You know, I don't know how much I owe you, but I know other ways I can pay you. Oh. Kids not listening. They're already gone. But thank you, babe. I appreciate it. I love you. Thank you. And you're always welcome to come on and help me out.
I love you.
Any last words you got?
I just appreciate you inviting me and allowing me to be the first person to hear your therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk at home, so I get not this deep, but you do talk at home, and I appreciate that. So.
Okay. All right. Well, shout out to Alice and Gabe. Thank you all. Thank you, babe.
Thank you.
All right. Until next time, we will see you. Come back. Be blessed. Hey, what's going on, everyone? I appreciate you all tuning in to this episode. This episode was personal. It was just allowing you and my wife to get inside my mind. And with that, it brings us to the word of the day. The word of the day I picked was inspire. The definition I love is to fill someone with urge or ability to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. That is exactly who that woman is to me. She inspires me to be better than what I am. inspired me to be better tomorrow than I was yesterday. And I'm sure if you think about it, you have someone like that in your life. If not, I encourage you to go find someone like that. And maybe you're that person for someone else. So this week, let's work on our word. Let's inspire someone to be better. Be blessed.